Then we're going to come back, what are you doing now? And then we're going to come back, what does the future hold for you? So just give an introduction, who you are, what life is for you, and then lead it up to the end.
My name is Gibson. I'm an ambassador for the Christopher and Dana Reed Foundation. My life before my injury, I got injured in 1993. I got shot 5 times with a .357. A young lady who was with me, 13 years old, she got shot 1 time in the center of her head. She instantly died. And in Los Angeles back in 93, it was an epidemic of guns that had hit the city. It was like when drugs had hit the city. Everybody had one, especially the little 25s. You can just almost find them. But my life was just like any other gang member life before my injury, because I was in the hood, I was gang banging, I had friends around me, I was selling dope, I had money, I had cars, I had women. Life was perfect for me. I couldn't think it could get no better. I thought I could live the rest of my life like this, as long as I could keep saving some money, keep stacking some money, and stay from being killed. You know, that's how I thought I could live the rest of my life. I was like, man, all these people that went to college and got these 7-figure, I could make the same thing if I could just stay safe. And that's what I thought. I thought, even though I knew it was consequences to living the lifestyle that I was living, but I'm just like everybody else. I said, it'd never be me. And I said, for it not to ever be me, I'm going to take my precautions, and I always have my piece on me. I'm going to protect myself. You know, but when I got shot 5 times with a .357, my gun was still in my back. I didn't even get a chance to get it out. But life was just like any other gang member in my neighborhood. But my thing is, I got 5 brothers and 1 sister. 5 of my brothers had already got shot. I got 1 brother that had been shot 4 times in 1 year. My brothers used to get shot so much, I was like, Mom, don't call me unless they dead. Because every night we running back and forth to hospitals, and I always wonder, when is it going to be me? You know, I know it's going to happen. I can't put no date on it, can't put no time on it. All I could do is carry a gun and protect myself. And that's what I did. But just like I say, that gun don't always wind up being your protection. But life for me before my injury, I thought I had it made. Because nobody touched me. I felt like I was invincible. Plus, I had this whole gang behind me. You know, I had 5 brothers from the gang, so we was well known. You know, and that's how it was. Life was fine for me. It wasn't. I didn't have no problems. I didn't know what financial situations was. I just lived. I tried my best to live large as I can.
Let's go to Big Man. What was life like before you got caught off guard?
Well, prior to this, my life was still over criminal activity. I got shot, I was over criminal activity. And as a child, violence was in my household. Men don't cry. And as a child, I saw guns, drugs, and all this. And it was like Brother said, it was normal for me to fight, even law enforcement, they was wrong for taking my people to jail for doing crimes, to my people, to blacks. And like I say, even backwards education, we don't like Crips. Why? Because they wear blue and we don't like them. Simple. You know, we the Black Panthers, we do drugs, we kill people, but, you know, we don't like the police. That was my household. And you don't talk outside of the household. So, for me, violence was like accepted. So even doing violence was like a badge of honor. I ain't gonna lie about that. Even sometimes I go to psych. You know, I still got issues. But my family's still active in their own way. And don't get me wrong, even something what Taco mentioned, the first time I got shot, I was young. And I never forget it. I said they messed up, they didn't kill me. And I really thought that way. You added with the drugs and, you know, I think they had been down in my wheelchair, you know, because it was like, you know what? You know, it is what it is. I know, like a person playing for football, you know you're gonna make the pros. Hey, I know I'm gonna get shot. I know I'm going to prison. uncle's been in prison, mama's been in prison. It's just the way of life. And like peace to me now, right now, I'm learning what peace means. I'm just starting to respect life. And I told somebody life is like, whoa, life is precious. I'm a child, and I'm trying to understand my daughter, and like how precious that is, life. Even like small kids. I see small kids at 11, 12 years old in my community, other communities, talk about death, talk about killing at their mouth, like it's nothing. So I do believe in God, so if you spiritually say this out your mouth, the physical action will come real soon. If I don't like Vicky, because I do like I don't like skip whoever. If I say this out my mouth, if I don't like, it's very easy for me to attack her. So I think it's very precious as a child. It was taught violence, man, don't cry. You know, if you pull a gun, use it. We don't like the police, police and all this, whoever. I think it's very important to teach our kids love and hug. I thought it was very strange, I swear, for a man to be a father of their kids. Cause I didn't see that. You know, I was told, hey, homie, come over, you gotta fight somebody your age. Seriously, all right, Pops. You know, ROG. I mean, that's what I was taught. And so, even today, I gotta calm myself down sometimes, like, oh look, 40 years old, you're on parole, thank God. You know, you ain't, hey. You know, don't go outside, stay in there, play the computer or something, right? And today, not only am I teaching a student, but I go to classes, I go to school, and I'm learning to do it myself. I'm learning to like even watch my words. The words are very powerful. I love you. God bless you. Goodbye. I might think something else, right? But I'm gonna use words. Because I remember in my household, the word kill was nothing. I'm gonna F you up was nothing. I would blow your brains out. That was normal in my household. You got me twisted, let's go to the backyard. I'm like, that was mom. Is what it is. So, for me, I think it's more about peace. I don't want to concentrate on violence. Love. I love you, mother. I love you, brother. And let it go. And right now, you can come and ceasefire. I remember somebody told me, that's your enemy's neighborhood. I said, the church? Yeah, the church? Before it was A-Trade Gangster. Nah, it's 79th and West of the church. You even that friend of words, right? It's the church. We go to the church. I'm not going to the back of the alley nowhere. I'm not going to the spot. The police are, some police officers are all my friends. Because Officer Joseph, you know, even that, you get on the police, I get on Officer Joseph. God bless you. Boss said, my homies. So for me, peace is good. And peace is, no wheelchair, no pain pills. That's about it.
January the 12th, 1989 is the day that I got shot. In Riverside, I was out visiting some friends, and again, it was a spot. We thought, okay, I was fresh home, and we're going to reestablish whatever we was doing when I left, and we're going to get it back right how it should be. I go outside to my car, and didn't have these at that time. 3 dudes at the end of the alley, they called me, hey, come here. And I'm thinking, it's my people. I walk up on them, by the time I get this close, I realize, I don't know these dudes. That's when they asked me the question, and shot me. There's about nine of my homies inside the house heard the gunshot. They all looked at each other and said, it's Tucker. Then I ran outside to come see what was wrong with Tucker. The youngest one that was in the house, he might have been 15, 16 years old. I was still laying on the ground because I was in shock. I didn't know where I was shot at or nothing. He came out there. I couldn't get up. He picked me up, a little bitty skinny dude. And carried me in the house. They looked at my wounds, whatever. Somebody was taking me to the hospital. The time the car was pulling off, the police pulled up, stopped the car, snatched me out the car. They're trying to explain, he's the one that got shot. They finally realized I was shot, called the ambulance, and went to the hospital. The dude that came and picked me up off the ground got killed 2 weeks later in Baltimore. And so if you see the tattoo on my back, I want to say Little D, rest in peace. That's the one that I feel saved my life. If it led to death, I mean, I don't know. But 2 weeks later, he was killed. For Eric, do you remember the date and the time, and how did that change your life, or how did you begin to cope with what happened?
It was 1993, October the 15th at 6:45 p.m. And I was on my way back from a couple of my friends' house. It was on a Sunday. We went over there to have a couple of drinks. I had talked to my girl. She was like, "Oh, this time I'm studying, and we go home and out." I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go over here and talk to one of my people." On my way back, I'm driving, and some girls pulled aside the room and said, "Hey, you know, what's up?" Like they wanted to talk to me. I'm like, "Hey, this ain't my area. If you want to holler at me, follow me." So when I got to my neighborhood, I looked behind me. They pulled up. I got out the car, went to the driver's side, and started talking to the girl. One of my friends came from the back, and he was like, "Hey, we're finna go get some liquor. You want to put some money on?" I gave him $20 on that. And I'm steady talking to the girl that's driving, and it's a passenger in the car. I noticed that she real cute, but she real young. She was only 13 years old. And as I'm talking to the driver, I started seeing her eyes get big, and I knew something was behind. When I turned around, the car had pulled from the other side of the street and was about from me to Skip with a 357. He just started pulling. The first shot did not hit me, didn't hit the driver. It hit the 13-year-old girl right in the center of her head. She died instantly. The other 5 shots I caught in the back. And as I was laying there on the ground, I'm like, you know, my brothers had came out, and I'm looking at them like, "Man, how, you know, what's up? You know, all y'all been shot before. How this work?" You know, I got a sweatshirt on. I take my sweatshirt off. I got money in my pocket, jewelry on. I give all that to my mom and them, and they say, "You all right?" They say, "You in the pain?" I don't feel no pain. Wasn't no blood coming out or nothing. But I had some little white things on my arm. I'm like, "What is this?" And I'm like, but it was pieces of her brain that had splattered when she got shot. And I'm like, I still didn't know what it was. I didn't find out what that was till later on. So when the ambulance came, I done been, the neighborhood I grew up in, I seen a lot of my friends get killed, and as the ambulance taking them away, they're like, "Oh, don't worry, he gonna be all right." And then you sit at home and you get that phone call, and you know what it is. And that's what I thought was gonna happen to me. So when I was in the back of the ambulance, I made a promise to God. I said, "If you save my life, I'll change my whole entire life around, and I'll do work for the rest of my life for the mess that I done made in my community." And that's what changed my whole entire life around. I went to Rancho. They finally told me, you know, "You paralyzed." I didn't even know what they was talking about too much at first. I had a few homeboys that I seen in wheelchairs, but I couldn't put myself in that position. I was an active person. I'm always running around, jumping around, playing, doing stuff. And I'm like, "Man, how am I gonna do this? I ain't really with this wheelchair thing." And I laid up in my bed at the hospital a couple of days, and I said, "Man, this is what God left you with. You know, this is what you have to deal with." And it was very hard for me to accept at first. Like when they gave you little furloughs to go home on the weekends in your neighborhood. So I went around there, all the homeboys around there, everybody. And I was just, that crowd, I was just like, "This ain't me no more, man. I don't feel it no more." I had made my mind up. I'm not gonna be no gangbang on the wheelchair on the corners with everybody else, because I still see that going on today. I know plenty of brothers still hang out, sell dope, do the whole 9 yards. Because I guarantee you one thing, when the bullets start flying, nobody ain't gonna say, "Hey, stop, it's Eric in the wheelchair, don't shoot him." No, I'm gonna be the victim. I'm gonna be the first one they want to shoot, you know. But after I figured out, went through my maybe 2 months of depression about dealing with what I had to go through, I prayed to God, and I said, "Okay, God, if this is what you left me with, I'm gonna work to the fullest. I don't care how you left me. If I'm alive, I'm gonna work it." And that's what I've been doing ever since. But I never forget that date. I never forget that time, and I never forget that little girl's face, because the little girl was a runaway from Vegas. She ran away from her family. She was a young Spanish girl. And she came to LA to be with one of her friends because she had ran away. Inside that young lady's purse, when they got to the hospital, they found a ticket and a letter in there that her mother had sent her where they reconciled all their differences and a ticket for her to get on the Greyhound bus at 7:30. She got shot at 6:45.
Wow.
And back then, 1993, I think my case was like the number 10th case of America's Most Wanted had just started coming out. So for some reason, they was in our neighborhood that night and they was on it. I had 4 brothers go to jail just from keeping them from trying to film this. You know, I wasn't with no police. I had the same mentality. I don't care what. Whoever did this to me, I'm doing it back. We doing it back. It's going to be a big thing. And the 2 months that I spent in the hospital, it was a big thing going on in my neighborhood, in the neighborhood that was closer to us, which was considered our enemies. You know, and I feel bad for all that stuff that took place in that 2 weeks because it all took place behind me. You know, I wanted to tell my homeboys, like, hey man, don't go back over there and do that, but I couldn't. I still had that gangster mentality. Like, no, go get them niggas. Get them good too. That's how I felt. I was like, I wish y'all could just put me in a car. I don't even need no wheelchair. Take me to do it. But God is so good that he came in my life and said, brother, whatever I gave you, work with that. And that's what I've been doing ever since. That's it, baby.